It was a dreary autumn afternoon when I first stepped into the building. Fresh out of college and filled with excitement for a new chapter in the city, I was eager to start my life in the historic district. The building was old, with creaky floors and faded wallpaper, but it had a certain charm that drew me in. The landlord, a gaunt man with a somber expression, greeted me warmly. He explained that the rent was low because of the building's age, but assured me it was secure and peaceful. I felt a mix of excitement and curiosity as I moved into my new home. From the very first night, however, I noticed subtle oddities. Faint whispers seemed to echo through the hallways, and objects in my apartment would shift ever so slightly when I wasn't looking. I tried to brush it off as my imagination, but the feeling of unease lingered. One evening, after a particularly long day at work, I returned home to find my front door slightly ajar. My heart raced as I pushed it open, half expecting to find chaos inside. To my surprise, everything seemed untouched. But on the kitchen table, there was a note that simply read, "I see you." I laughed it off, thinking it was a prank, but a chill ran down my spine. As the days went by, the strange occurrences grew more frequent. Footsteps echoed in the hallway at night, and one night, I woke to find my bedroom window wide open, despite having locked it. Each incident left me more unsettled, and when I mentioned it to the landlord, he insisted I was probably just imagining things. Determined to get to the bottom of it, I set up a camera in the living room. The footage seemed normal at first, but then I saw a shadowy figure appear behind me, standing silently before vanishing again. I began to dig deeper into the building's history, speaking to longtime residents and searching old records. I discovered that decades earlier, a tenant had mysteriously disappeared in the same apartment I now lived in. The rumors of hauntings and unexplained events began to make sense. As I continued to live there, the disturbances grew more personal, and the sense of being watched never faded. It became clear that the building held secrets that were not easily uncovered. As days turned into weeks, the strange occurrences in the apartment grew more intense. The whispers that once felt distant now seemed to echo from the walls themselves, as if the building itself was alive and watching. I started to feel a constant presence, as if I were never truly alone. One night, I awoke to the sound of soft footsteps outside my bedroom door. My heart pounded as I held my breath, hoping it was just my imagination. But the footsteps continued, and the door creaked open slightly, even though I was sure I had locked it. I turned on the light, and there was nothing there, but the sense of unease lingered. In an attempt to understand what was happening, I reached out to some of the long-term residents in the building. They shared stories of other tenants who had experienced similar disturbances over the years. One elderly woman told me about a tenant who vanished without a trace, and how the building seemed to hold on to its secrets, whispering them to those who stayed too long. I decided to set up more cameras, hoping to capture something definitive. The footage revealed fleeting shadows and distorted figures, as if the building itself was alive and watching. Each night, the disturbances grew more intense, and the line between reality and something more sinister blurred. The more I uncovered, the more I realized that the building held layers of secrets, and that the unseen presence was not something that would let me go easily. The haunting was more than just a series of random events. It was a story written in the walls, waiting to be told. With each passing day, the building's mysteries deepened. As I continued my research, I uncovered old documents and photographs tucked away in the building's basement. The basement itself was a labyrinth of forgotten rooms and cobweb-covered corners, each holding echoes of the past. One evening, as I sifted through a stack of old newspapers, I found an article about a tenant who had mysteriously vanished in the 1970s. The report mentioned strange occurrences in the building, and whispers of a presence that no one could explain. It seemed that the building had a long history of unexplained events, and I was just another chapter in its eerie legacy. As I delved deeper, I found old journal entries from previous tenants. One journal spoke of a presence that would visit at night, whispering secrets and watching from the shadows. Another journal detailed strange, unexplainable events. Objects moving on their own, chilling breezes in locked rooms, and the sense of being followed. I also discovered old photographs of the building's previous occupants, their faces frozen in time. Some of them looked uneasy, as if they carried the weight of the building's secrets. It became clear that the apartment was more than just a place to live. It was a nexus of something otherworldly. The more I learned, the more I realized that the building's history was intertwined with my own fate. It was as if the apartment had chosen me for a reason, and the haunting was far from over. As I delved deeper into the building's secrets, the haunting grew more intense and personal. Each night, I felt the presence drawing closer, as if it were trying to communicate something vital. The whispers that once felt like mere echoes now formed coherent words, whispering secrets of the past and the building's dark history. One evening, as I explored the basement further, I stumbled upon a hidden room behind a false wall. Inside, I found old belongings, personal letters, and faded photographs that revealed the lives of those who had come before me. It was in these artifacts that I uncovered the truth. The building had been the site of a tragic event, a disappearance that left a lingering spirit trapped within its walls. As I pieced together the fragments of history, I realized that the spirit's presence was not malevolent. It was a soul seeking closure, yearning to tell its story and find peace. The whispers were not just echoes of fear, but cries for understanding. In a pivotal moment, I performed a small ritual, a way to honor the spirit and offer it peace. As I did, the atmosphere in the apartment shifted. The whispers faded, and a sense of calm enveloped the space. It became clear that the spirit had found the closure it sought, and the building's haunting began to lift. As the days passed after the ritual, the atmosphere in the building transformed. The once oppressive presence that had haunted me began to dissipate, and a calm, almost serene energy filled the air. The whispers that once echoed through the hallways faded into silence, leaving behind a sense of peace. I felt a profound sense of closure, knowing that the spirit that had lingered for so long was finally at rest. The building, once shrouded in mystery and fear, now felt like a place of healing and history. In the weeks that followed, I noticed that the building's residents seemed more at ease. The once eerie hallways now felt welcoming, and the stories of the past seemed to be shared with reverence rather than fear. I continued to document the building's history, preserving the memories of those who had come before. It became a testament to resilience and the power of understanding. The building, once a place of fear, had transformed into a home filled with stories and warmth. In the end, I realized that the true haunting was not the spirit itself, but the unfinished business left behind. By understanding and honoring the past, I had helped bring peace to both the building and its occupants, both past and present.